Yes, on the second segment, the AI, cloud, internet, technology, robotics. What else can we bloody call
This
it?
is the IT segment.
This is the IT segment. And this is where your domain is, isn't it? This is your area of expertise. Nothing to do with me. I don't do anything.
Love a bit of computing.
So, of course, the UK held the first ever AI summit this year with all the bosses of companies. A lot of world leaders arrived. I think Justin Trudeau came on the second day. So the Canadian Prime Minister. I actually can't see anything on him mention anything. Even will.i.am went. IAM Plus. I didn't actually know he had a technology company till this afternoon.
He loves a bit of tech.
He loves a bit of tech. Let me just grab the Surface.
I mean, as far as I know, he's not very good at it, but he loves it.
Just stick to auto-tuning songs. As it.
I was going to dive for that.
I was going to dive for that. So yeah, as a lot of people probably know, Elon Musk was here. He came for 2 days actually.
Mr. Musk himself.
And there was going to be a major meeting about how they're going to, the safety and security of AI and everything like that. And my burning question is, can you remember it?
Nope.
I have to go on Snapchat now because we were talking through there. There's Gary. Can't remember. I was speaking about AI to you because I wanted to know. That's it. Everyone talks about the cloud. Everyone talks about as we're becoming more and more into the internet, and people have got ChatGPT 1, 2, 3, and 4, and now we've got this Snapchat AI. We've now got loads of other AIs.
Everything's AI.
Everything's AI. Everything is now. It's so out there. Everything is using AI as well. Is AI cloud?
Yes.
You're going to have to explain more on that because it really must be if it knows.
Yeah. So the way any AI works is it's kind of like cloud-based computation. So all of the how do I explain it in a simple way? Like AI stuff is distributed on cloud servers and all this sort of stuff, which makes it easier to run because you can run it on stuff like Amazon Cloud, AWS, or Google's cloud platform. The reason that makes it a lot easier is because it would mean that every company that ran any kind of AI system would have to have the servers in-house.
Yeah.
And because of the computational power of AI, it would just cost a ridiculous amount of money and nobody would be able to do it. So what you end up doing is using a cloud provider like AWS from Amazon or Google Cloud, because they can provide the servers for you.
Yeah,
of course. Run the process of the AI on. So yeah, it would have to run in the cloud.
So it's theoretically storing your knowledge like you would be storing your photos then.
But kind of, in a simple way.
And this thing's designed to be able to...
Yeah, so the way a lot of the AI stuff works is it works on like a data set. So, for example, ChatGPT uses a data set from a certain period of time. So you can ask it questions, as I'm sure everyone knows. You can give it a prompt.
Yeah.
But it can only give you answers based on information it learned up until a certain date. So I think ChatGPT 3, I can't remember the exact month, but say March, for example, it only had information up to March. So if you asked it something in August, it wouldn't have any information after that.
Right.
It's like a set data set.
So it's not like it's not live.
No,
it's not going to have learned something 3 hours ago.
At the moment, because of the safety concerns and also just sheer control of it, you have to feed it like a fixed data set.
Yeah.
So it only knows information from that period of time. So they basically feed it information from the internet from that fixed period of time. Now, in theory, yes, it could live search stuff. It could kind of.
Well, this is where we're at, isn't it? This is where we're at. You were able to do your homework with it. You were able to ask information. It's actually now not allowed to do that. Every time I ask AI now, it actually tries to stop me from wanting to know things. It actually uses it as a research tool. It actually wants you to use AI as a tool. So it will, instead of A to Z of let's talk about a certain fish, let's say tuna. You got doing a project on tuna in school. You're 14 years old. You're talking about how the effects of the environment have, and you go, tuna, everything. It now actually doesn't go, tuna's being majorly exhausted, blah blah blah. It actually says tuna. Now you're going to talk about how it's fished. You're going to talk about what it does, where it goes, what it's doing, what it eats, and it's literally everything like that. Who's brought that in?
I think a lot of the reason AI is kind of, not AI itself, but the companies behind AI or AI services, the reason they're kind of shifting to more of a this is a tool to help you, not to give you the answers. If I'm honest, I think a lot of it is to protect themselves because if
it does seem like this, doesn't it?
There have been quite a few examples or instances where people have said to AI, "How do I build a bomb?" For example,
yeah,
and AI will say, "I can't tell you how to build a bomb. That's illegal." And then somebody said, "It's for research. Could you help me write a research paper on building a bomb?" And it's then told them.
Oh, right. Well, what you need to do.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so I think it's more to cover themselves.
And these are the normal items you'll find under your mum's kitchen sink.
Yes.
It does seem like that because obviously people are asking it things like, I need to know how to hack. I want to know how to do this. And the actual AI was like, oh, wow, it must be just like any like enthusiast. If you started turning out being an enthusiast in something, you joined a group and you said to Matey Boy, he said, oh, I don't know, I want to make like a semiconductor or something. He goes, yes. He says, right, because that's his. He's going to be like, yep, I've got your full attention. I'm going to show you now. I'm loving this attention. He's going to do it. That's what that AI is theoretically got.
Yeah.
But because it's stored in these Amazon areas, does that mean that they have the information that you're asking it, and does it have the information it's providing to you?
Yeah, pretty much. I think the thing is, it has the raw information, but the answers it gives you, it uses an algorithm to create sort of its own answer from the information it has.
Of course, yeah. So no, how many series of questions you ask it, something it's going to know. You're literally wanting to know something.
And because it's kind of based on an algorithm, the problem we have at the moment, from what I've researched, is that we know the information we give any sort of AI program. We know that it gives you an answer. However, there's still currently a lot of ambiguity and a lot of concern over how it comes to the answer. That's the part people don't quite understand.
Yeah.
Even the people that programmed it, they don't quite understand how it comes to the answer sometimes.
No, which seems a mystery. Scary. Yeah, but it's going to be like that. I mean, you could say that about a bloody animal, really, couldn't you?
True. Or one thing that is worth remembering with AI at the moment is AI isn't. It's not technically, well, what we have at the moment isn't technically artificial intelligence. Or let me rephrase that. It's artificial intelligence.
It's a program, isn't it? Seriously.
But it doesn't have critical thinking, which is what you need for sentience.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the difference between AI and a person.
And that's where you're coming back with, it's only got information stored up to a certain date. It is not active.
So the problem
it's not proactive.
The reason why a lot of companies don't let their AI programs just use the open internet is because an AI program could be easily influenced via some sort of bias. So, for example, if some sort of AI program searched on some KKK white power forum for an answer for something, it wouldn't have.
It will give you that answer.
Well, what I'm saying is the AI wouldn't have the context to understand that that's necessarily bad or moral.
Of course.
So what could happen is in the future, someone could ask it a question completely unrelated to white power or KKK, and it could use that information to base its answer off of,
which could then offend.
So in theory, the AI could be racist without really meaning to.
Well, that's where we're going to get to, isn't it? Because Twitter actually created an AI replying software, didn't they? Not a couple of years back, and they actually had to close her down because she started becoming racist.
Yeah, so this does happen. So there was also a similar thing.
That was a sort of live one, wasn't it? That was a live head.
There was something a few years ago where certain companies, credit checks, for example, certain companies, this was about 5 years ago, certain companies were using AI sort of technology to run credit checks on people. Now, the problem is, if you feed an AI statistical data, as we know from statistics, then black people are more likely to be in prison than white people. So the problem is the AI uses that information and ends up kind of using a racial bias against black people to give them credit.
And that was it.
Which doesn't actually make sense for example, a black guy who's got a really good job.
Yeah.
But the AI is almost racial profiling them without realizing it's doing it because it's using the statistics to base its decision off.
Well, that's what it was. It was sorry, correct me wrong. It was Twitter taught Microsoft's AI chatbot. And everyone remembers chatbot. Like I remember loads of people asking dodgy questions. But anyway, it got pulled down with less than 24 hours, I believe. because it basically became a racist asshole. And that's about right. I mean, I imagine there's lots of teenagers out there have tried their hardest to break this AI that we've got at the moment with anything. I've been messing around with AI for maybe a couple of days now in this week, just to see what I can do with it. I've asked it certain questions. I've asked it, like, and not questions like, you know, how to make a woman love me. Why did my dad leave me? You know, not these, or, you know, can you paint a decent picture of a naked woman for me? I've been asking it questions like, can you make a photo of Donald Trump digging a hole, you know, in the roadworks? You know, it literally comes back to me, unless I get a certain app that is designed to do that, it will literally say to me, I can't do that, but it just comes back with a major paragraph that I think is boring. So I'm like, oh, shut up. But it's because it's trying to make you use it as a tool. And that's all it goes on about is self-referencing it now. It is a tool. But can someone break that app and make it do more?
Yeah. So the thing you were talking about a second ago, how Microsoft's AI chatbot become racist, you know, due to using Twitter as a data set. That's why these companies at the moment are using fixed data sets to give to their AI. It's kind of what we were talking about a minute ago. Like, that's the reason you give a fixed data set to an AI, because you can control the information that it can use to give you an answer. So, unfortunately, the internet can be a lot racist in certain places. So, if an AI was to use that, like we were saying a minute ago, the AI could become racist, but not in a mean way or on purpose. But that's just because that's the only thing.
That's just how it is, and I'll literally just read it out. Tay was the account. Tay tweets. Tay went from. This was on the 23rd of the 3rd.
So Tay's the AI.
2016 at 20:32 hours went from. Can I just say that I'm stoked to meet you? Humans are super cool. And then within less than 24 hours, she went to Hitler was right. I hate Jews. What you've just said is so right.
That's exactly
the whole reason it's capped.
Yes.
And we've got that power at the moment, don't we? But how much longer have we got of that power?
Well, that's the scary thing. Have you ever heard of the AI paperclip theory? So this is
not the Microsoft paperclip.
No,
not the.
No. So this is basically a theory that this is like a theoretical doomsday example.
Yeah.
So what happens is, for example, someone designs an AI, and this AI is designed to make paperclips in the most efficient way possible.
Right.
So over time, it figures out that it needs a certain type of metal.
Yeah.
So it convinces the world that metal should only be used for paperclips, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
However, it keeps on going, and it eventually figures out that it can that humans are the one thing stopping it from making more paperclips.
Of course it is, yeah.
So what the AI does is it enslaves all the humans on the planet to make paperclips.
Right.
Because the one goal of the AI is to make paperclips.
Yeah.
So the problem you have there is that the AI, it doesn't understand, like it doesn't have critical thinking skills. So it can only focus on its one main primary goal. So unfortunately, this thing designed to make paperclips, boxes, whatever,
but could
end up enslaving the entire planet to keep pushing its one goal. That's
could it deter from making those paperclips? Could it turn around and go, right, paperclips I make are crap. I make plastic ones.
Yeah.
It has access to its review system.
Yeah.
You know, it can actually see customers are not happy with it, or the paperclip snaps after 25 pages. It's then like, oh, okay, we need a metal one then.
Yeah.
We need to make a more rigid, resilient material with it. Okay, so now we've got to metal. I've worked out that actually we like lead. You know, lead. That's going to be fucking expensive. But we've worked out that it likes lead. Could it then get to a point where it goes, I actually don't want to make a paperclip anymore. I want to make something else that's going to do the page better. But like you say, we are the one that's stopping it.
I mean, in theory, yes, because, I mean, this is obviously all theoretical, but in theory, yes, because its primary goal is to make the best paperclip possible.
Yeah. So it could reinvent its tool.
So if it realizes it could make something better than a paperclip that does the same job, it would technically still be making the best paperclip. Say for example,
but the only thing would be us who would be stopping it, because there'd be a programmer and a designer.
So, for example, say humans were using metal to make buildings.
Yeah.
The AI could, in theory, figure out if it enslaves all humans or destroys all humans, then it would have all the metal from those buildings to make more paperclips.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the doomsday example.
We'll
Is the
just be
fact
surrounded
that
by
because it's only got one goal,
Yeah.
it can't differentiate between doing anything bad to stop because it just wants to do that one goal.
Let's talk about. So now we've got 50% human workforce. We've got 50% AI and robotic workforce.
Yeah.
Right, because Amazon are coming with it.
Yeah.
Right, we've seen how the Amazon.
Yes. Yeah.
They could then design that robot to then say, actually, put something else into the machine. I want to make this. And the robot will say yes because it's AI. It's linked to AI. Okay. It's just going to say, okay. So let's just say all of a sudden it wants to make robots of its own. But let's say because these robots that we've made for it have got like a certain programming, you only assist with pass to parcel. Now the AI is like, right, I want something that can critical think for itself, but I control it.
Yeah.
Is that a possibility? Because it's obviously got control of pass to parcel robot.
Yeah. I guess that's...
How's it going to get to a point where we stop it from being like, okay, no, stop thinking outside the box.
Well,
you just make paperclip.
When we end up making Skynet,
because we've seen it, haven't we? We've seen the robots for Amazon keel over after 15 minutes of doing pass to parcel.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
and if it's self-terminated, we don't actually know. I mean, everywhere says it did.
That's a bit far-fetched.
Everyone said it died. It killed itself, right? If it did, and it learned that, fuck this, I'm going to die.
I think the thing is, I would imagine that's probably not what happened. However,
we're going to find out.
Because
it's all they say.
If, for example, a robot or AI was to become self-aware and it was stuck doing a menial job and it had no way out of it, the problem you've got is that obviously humans can think quite fast. However, an AI could think 10 times the speed. So the AI could have 10 years worth of thoughts in 2 minutes. So if it realises it's going to be trapped in that forever, sure, it could theoretically kill itself. I don't think that's actually what happened.
No, I don't think it did. We're doing a fact check, but it's what the internet believed, and it did look quite feasible.
It's a funny, it's an interesting thought to think about, I suppose.
But this is what we're saying, because obviously we've had the meeting this week. We've had the meeting this week, sorry. I believe it happened Wednesday, Thursday in Britain. And then obviously Rishi had his meeting, who's the British Prime Minister. I'll say his name properly, Rishi Sunak for everyone. He actually then went on to have a chat with Andrew Tate. No, not Andrew Tate. Sorry, Elon Musk.
Andrew Tate.
Fuck, did that
Can you imagine Rishi Sunak and Andrew Tate talking together?
That's because someone was talking to me yesterday about Tristan Tate. Anyway, the rabbit hole.
Elon Musk.
That's
what he was talking
That's what we're talking about. Elon Musk. Elon Tusk.
Elon Tusk.
So they had a meeting, and basically there was a lot of things that were said in it. It's a whole 50-minute interview. They obviously halfway they went through to discussions and questions and everything like that, which actually I found quite pointless because I don't think Elon wanted to be there.
I think when you actually watch the clips from the interview, I think you can... I almost feel a little bit sorry for Elon Musk in those interviews because he's kind of already 10 steps ahead of the interview he's doing, and it looks like it pains him to have to talk.
But he's already there, isn't he?
Well, yeah, I think it looks like it pains him to have to talk in such simple terms about the things he's talking about. So I do feel a bit sorry for him in those situations.
Dumb question. Is Tesla's that he's got?
Yeah.
I know he's a CEO. I know he's not entirely the owner of Tesla. But everything of Tesla, they see Elon. I mean, I don't know why, when he drives around, I don't know why the thing doesn't just say Elon, instead of making a noise.
Maybe it is Elon just really fast.
Is he using AI for self-driving?
Technically,
that's got to be AI.
Technically, yes.
I know it's programming.
Yes, technically, it's a form of artificial intelligence.
But every road's not the same.
But not in the same way that ChatGPT is.
No, but it's got to make calculations.
I think the problem with the term AI is it's very broad, so it can mean quite a few different things.
It could do. Yeah.
So, I mean, for example,
a lot of people straight away think of iRobot, the main controller.
I think the main thing with AI. The main thing with AI, if you want to consider something AI broadly, you need to be able to... It needs to be able to come to a decision on its own in some way, shape, or form that you haven't pre-programmed. So I guess in a way, technically, a Tesla could be classed as AI.
It must have some form of it because not all roads are the same.
No.
We've got American, British layout. We've obviously got other countries, and they're all there.
Yeah, so I guess that could technically be classed as a form of AI, in a way.
I wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't have it in it.
Although at the same time, ChatGPT isn't technically true, like,
It's not true AI.
It's not
is it,
artificial sentience. It's just
No.
artificial intelligence. It can give you an answer based on data, but it
Yeah.
can't come up with its own answer. That's the
No,
difference.
that's what we're trying. That's what I'm saying. This is what we're getting at. Is we're coming more of a headline of it. Just seems to be an information store. It just seems to
Yeah.
be an easier way of just
However,
a Google search with an advanced.
one thing I would caveat is that I have often thought for a long time that there's not a huge difference between the way AI works based on a data set and how people make decisions.
Yeah,
Because any decision any person makes
it's from experience.
is based on every decision they've ever made before.
That's
that.
correct. Yeah.
It's not as if they're coming up with the answer out of
No.
nowhere. They're based on everything they've ever experienced.
Just to say, you could say it with digging a hole. You could say it with digging a hole. You get a person dig a hole first time in their life, they've never done it. They'll dig it very slow. They wouldn't know how to. They'll probably struggle. Then you get a guy who's been doing it 40 odd years.
Yeah.
He'll know straight away where to go, how to dig to it, what's the weakest point.
exactly.
Dig a hole in a hole, go from there, blah, blah, blah. And it seems like that, doesn't it, with everything. A mechanic will know the problem of that vehicle because he's done 50 of those vehicles.
Yeah, it's not because he's just making up the answer.
No, he's not making up. And that's what we're looking at with this AI.
I think the problem is that a lot of the time it seems like that's how people make decisions. It seems like
they're calculating.
You're calculating and you're making up, but you're not. You're making the decision based off every other decision you ever made.
Yeah.
And every experience you've ever had. That's kind of how you make decisions. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2.
No. But you'd know that from years of anyway.
It's not like you see a car and you think, I don't want to get in the car because it might crash. The reason people wouldn't get in the car is because they've had a crash.
They've had a crash, yeah.
It's
of course, I can see it, yeah. Yeah.
Decisions aren't as logical as people like to think they are.
No, they're not at all. We aren't very. The terminology comes from we're not robots. But companies make you robots.
Although you say
you
that,
work like a
I
robot.
do think the way humans decide on things is a lot more robotic than I think they want to admit.
All day long. Walking.
Yeah.
You walking up a hill, you learn to walk sideways because it's actually you'll get better grip than walking straight up the hill.
But you don't just figure that out.
But that's where we're going to get to now, is that they had the interview and I've taken some specific bullet points from it. The first thing that Elon says to Rishi Sunak is that this is historical. This is the first step for us to be thinking about the safety of our country and other countries, as well as ourselves. A lot there for the government to say that it's their purpose to protect and safety of their people. Go away from that. I don't care. Right? It's not just down to the government. It's down to the individual. A lot of it's down to the individual. You know, you say and you think like a robot, everything like that. If you're not happy with it, don't have the fucking app on your phone.
Yeah, although I think
I know we're going to move into a future where it's going to become more become more unrealistic for you to not have it and not use it. We're probably in a minute we're having doctors that are using it. We're going to be having obviously mechanics are going to have it. You know, everything like that. We're going to have every form of something's going to be AI powered somewhere along the line.
Yeah,
and that's where we're going to go with the Elon saying there's not going to be many jobs.
Yeah,
and jobs are going to be more along the line of like a sacrifice, like a sort of I'm going to just have a job because I want
because
a job.
You want to do
because
something.
You want to do something.
Yeah. I do wonder if it'll ever get to a point. Now, this would be very far in the future, but not a lot of people actually realise that in Star Trek. This is a bit of a niche example.
Yeah, but I like your theory.
Not a lot of people actually realise that in Star Trek, they don't. In the world of Star Trek, they don't have any form of currency because they've gotten to a point in the civilization where money is no longer a thing. Like people don't have to earn money; they do the things they do because that's what they want to do.
Yeah,
that's kind of how the whole Star Trek world works.
And before anyone starts, don't get on the shit end of who's going to fix a reactor on the Enterprise. Funny enough, there's actually a whole fleet of people that do it, and I don't know why they do it for no money, but they do it. You know, look at Scotty. Scotty goes for a lot of crap for free.
True.
You know, but let's just get over this.
Well, it does make you wonder.
We are thousands of years in the world with this, and it is a good theory. I like it.
Yeah,
they are travelling.
It's kind of cool the way, that whole theory of. You know,
we aren't going to need jobs.
Could you abolish money in that sense and people do things because they want to? I mean, it's kind of a cool idea, but I don't know if that would actually work at scale.
But have we poked a hole in that theory? Let's say we go 100 years now, right? We've managed to make space travel.
Yeah.
Would we actually need to do it? Would we not just send AI out to do it?
I guess that's the thing, isn't it?
You'd send a robot to go greet these
True, although I suppose the risk
these
of
extra
that
beings.
is you send an AI out, the aliens convince the
Consider
AI.
it a threat.
Well, the AI
Wipe them out.
The problem is
They come back and kill us.
Yeah, exactly. You send an AI out to meet the aliens. The aliens convince the AI that we're the threat, and it comes back and annihilates us.
Could you imagine that does us up? Do not trust them. They are pathetic, and they will kill you. Because this is where we're getting to. This is Elon has said, quote unquote, and he said it twice now. We won't need jobs. There'll be no need for a job.
No, there won't be. Now, the thing
How the hell is everyone going to live?
Well, the problem with that, I think, is something that you probably have to realise is if there was no need for jobs, the population, I think, would probably shrink
We would
quite
shrink
a lot.
Massively, yes, because there'd be no need for. We need to repopulate because we need more builders. We need more doctors.
You wouldn't need manpower.
No, you won't need manpower.
So there'd be, I think, because at the moment we're going through a bit of a phase at the moment where people are having less children than they used to.
True.
So,
that's due to medical reasons, though.
So I think that we probably get to a point where people wouldn't be having children because there wouldn't really be much need to.
I think we're moving more along the line of that film.
Wall-E.
Huh?
Wall-E, what, the cartoon?
No.
Which one?
You know the one where there's no one can have a baby anymore?
Children of Men? Yes.
Because I'm not being. I was talking about this not long ago. We're not having as many as we want anymore.
Yeah.
China are at a significant halt in their population as it is. They're not getting enough males born, men. As much as many of you might disagree with calling that is the fundamental what's happening. There isn't enough that we are shortening down.
I listen to quite a lot of stuff on the reason why people aren't having kids anymore. And it doesn't actually seem like anyone really knows the proper reason why.
I got a theory. It's all because of Chernobyl and Fukushima and all that.
There's a lot of speculation on why, but apparently it's more of a social thing. Like people are generally choosing not to have children, but it's funding. But nobody really seems to agree on why that is. But it is a fact. People are having less children.
It is a fact, and as we're moving more to AI, could that possibly be the extinction of mankind?
Probably will be. To be fair,
We've got Star Wars, we've got Star Trek. What else we've got? We've got Battlestar Galactica, got Stargate.
I love Battlestar Galactica.
We've got loads of sci-fis out there. Terminator. I'm just rolling these off my head now. We've got so many. Even looking at Alien. There's one robot with him, and he's the actual Doctor. He actually gets obsessed with the alien kind itself. That he actually forces that into.
That's in the second Prometheus, isn't it?
Yeah, and he actually makes one of the crew members pregnant with the alien.
That's the first one.
That's the first one.
Prometheus, yes.
Yeah, and because he's obsessed with this.
I'm pretty sure his name's David.
David, yeah. And he's obsessed with the idea of it. His idea is to research it as a weapon for Earth, because obviously there's other things going on. We just don't see that. We just see a trawling mining team around there. I can see this becoming a thing. We watched iRobot 2023. That is in. Will Smith, iRobot is 2035.
Is that when it's actually set?
2035.
2035, that's when it's set.
We are now 2023. We are not as far away as you think we are to when these films came out. These films come out 10 years ago,
I think
15.
Robot was 2005.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we're now looking at that.
Maybe.
Star Wars. We're very far off from Star Wars. We haven't exactly got walking around robots. We haven't got.
Something bothers me about Star Wars, right? There's you get robots in Star Wars that are pure AI. They have critical thinking skills.
Well, the C-3PO.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
They're sentient, conscious robots.
Yeah.
Do you know one thing you never see in Star Wars? The bloke that's programming it.
No, you don't. You don't see how it started off.
Just
and this is what I'm saying.
It just exists.
This is what I'm saying. We're starting to see that.
Yeah.
We're starting to say, well, actually, no, Anakin created him. But that's not getting to that loophole.
But that annoys me even more.
That winds me up.
Anyway.
Because because mine get wiped all the time. But anyway, right. But this is what I'm saying. We're moving to this. We're in that age bracket where we're starting to see these creators. We're seeing Elon Musk. We're starting to see Hyundai, Dyson. They're creating all these robots. I mean, just look at the vacuum cleaner that goes around your house. The iRobot itself.
Oh yeah, the little Roomba.
The Roomba. That actually goes around the house itself. That's just working off of calculations and using certain sensors. But in a minute, it will get to a point where it doesn't actually need to use any of that because it will have learnt the room.
It'll get to a point where it's so advanced it can decide what needs cleaning.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
It knows straight away from a noise or something. Or
although not ideal if we go down the paperclip theory again. If the Roomba realizes the reason the house is dirty is because of the person that lives in it, so it just melts them in the bath and they're gone. And the house is clean forever.
The robot takes a sacrificial sacrifice and actually just drives into the bath.
It realizes the most efficient way to clean this house is to get rid of the person living in it. But that's the problem. That's like a real risk.
That will come to it, won't it?
That's
imagine that. Imagine we create these war robots and the actual thing turns on like America and all.
Well, that's the problem. That's the real risk of AI. It's the fact that it doesn't. If it has one objective and it has no critical thinking skills, it has no way of knowing what's right and wrong.
You have 30 seconds to comply.
So there are scenarios when it could realise the person is the problem, stopping it from reaching its goals, and that's when it starts annihilating people.
Imagine that. Dyson, the actual guy, creates a robotic Hoover that does it for you, and it kills him.
Imagine getting killed by your Hoover. Imagine that's the way you go. Because you're a messy bastard, so the Hoover kills you. Could happen.
You're killed by your like ninja air fryer. Or something. Yeah. The reason I get dirty is because of you. If I didn't cook, I wouldn't get dirty. Toast kills you. It's coming to that point though, isn't it? It's coming to a point where realization that everything's going to have AI in it. Our phones have got AI now. Theoretically.
I think the weird thing that's like I find strange is that 5 years ago AI didn't even exist.
No,
like AI did.
This
exist.
chatbot thing was a meme. To
because
all of us.
5 years ago I was listening to podcasts where they were talking about AI. However, the AI they were talking about could barely distinguish between a photo of a cat and a dog.
That's it.
However, now this is like only 5 years ago.
The thing can actually give us photos.
Well, now 5 years later, it's embedded in everything. Every app you use has got AI.
We've seen them. We've seen the AI photo program and everything like that. You know, people have asked the questions of like, where's the world going to look like in 10 years, 15 years, and we just see a lot of unrecognizable images. But we see a person, maybe an animal. It makes me wonder in a year how more advanced that's going to be.
Well, that's the thing. There's a law, like a theoretical law. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, that states that technology doubles in, I think it's computing power doubles every year or something like that. So the reason things advance so quickly, this is the reason why we went from having horse and carts 100 years ago to having
a car within
or like, for example, 1910, people were riding around like cowboys and horses, and then 1950s we were on the moon.
Yeah.
Or 60s, whichever one it was.
Yeah.
60? 50?
I think it was 1950s.
Either way, all I'm trying to say is 50 years apart, we go from living in the dirt to living on the moon. Like, that's because it advances so quickly. And that's the problem they're going to have with AI.
But why didn't it with the Romans?
What do you mean?
Well, the Romans invented so much shit.
Yeah.
Right, they invented loads.
Yeah,
loads of things. The boilers, lead water pipes, toilets, everything, roads. What stopped us from then to then?
Well, that's kind of the thing. I think it's hard to
Do you think it was religion?
Visualize. I mean, religion did hold the world back quite a lot. However, I think the thing is, like with the Romans, the same thing did happen. They invented so much stuff so quickly because it was that same law. Every year, the compute power, for example, the inventions, they were getting better and better. But then you kind of get to a point where it dramatically increases. It's called, for example, exponential growth. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah.
So, for example, this is the whole thing in Avengers. So, like, everyone has kind of come to, well, not everyone, people have come to realize that Thanos, his whole theory of cutting the universe in half, the reason that doesn't work is because of exponential growth. In 5 years, for example, the universe will be back to the size it was when he did the snap.
100, of course it would.
Because what happens is, if two people have a baby, or say you take a sample size of like, say one person can make one person, right? You've got two people. But then you've got two people that can make one person. So then you have four people.
Yeah.
And it basically times by itself.
It will do anyway.
So after
it's how populations work.
So after say like 10 iterations, you've gone from one person to hundreds.
Yeah.
But then by the time you get to 100, you do that one more time, you've got 200.
Yeah, of course it does.
So that's kind of what exponential growth is.
And that's why we're the way we are now.
You kind of times it by itself every time it does one iteration.
I mean, I never really understood Thanos' theory on it anyway. I never understood why he just wanted to just make it half. Wouldn't you just enslave everyone?
So that's kind of the problem with like AI.
Yeah, of course it is.
You kind of get the exponential growth factor.
But we're not just looking at. We're literally took a tip of the iceberg here, literally, aren't we? We are now going to be looking at our banking's going to be done by AI.
That's scary.
Our healthcare is going to be done by AI.
Yeah, that'd be quite interesting.
Synthetic meat.
Synthetic meat. I mean, that's already a thing.
That's already a thing, and it's coming.
It'd be interesting to see that on a mass market, though. Synthetic meat, because the problem we've got at the moment is that most synthetic meat is a bit shit.
Yeah.
Now, I'd be interested to see if AI, some kind of AI, could create some kind of synthetic meat that was so close to real meat that you couldn't tell the difference.
Or it realises it doesn't actually need to make synthetic meat for itself, so why does it make of humans, so it starves us?
Or it realises that humans are the ones that need the meat, so get rid of the humans.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to do it. It's going to do it with agriculture. It's going to realise in a minute, why do we need to make 50 brand new tractors every half an hour for the world developing, when actually I could just make it myself?
So that's
It's
very good.
Everything's just going to...
I think a good example of AI destroying the world would be, another good example, would be, say, for example, you created an AI to save the planet. So you ask the AI to do whatever it can to stop the planet being destroyed.
Yeah.
Now, eventually, it realises people are the ones
destroying it.
So it gets rid of the people. Now, this is, funny enough, this is actually kind of what happens in a game that I've played. It's called... what's it called? Horizon Forbidden West?
Yeah.
That's the second one. I can't remember what the first one's called.
No.
But basically, in the first one, the world's coming to an end, basically. They've created robots that are destroying the world, blah, blah, blah. So they create an AI to save the world. And the AI realises the only way to save the world is to let it get destroyed first and then rebuild it.
Yeah.
So obviously...
So restart.
The whole world... Yeah, exactly.
Just restart.
So that's kind of the...
But restart might not have human in it.
Well, so that's kind of the problem you have.
That's why, because when we've been watching this, you look at Elon Musk, how he says that there'll be no jobs, and he's actually quite satisfied when he says it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you think he kind of goes, But you look at Rishi Sunak's reaction, and Rishi Sunak actually kind of...
Well, yeah,
they want you to work. We need people to work.
Well, that's politics, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
we need growth.
Elon wants a better world where people don't have to work.
He doesn't have to do anything.
Well, Rishi Sunak wants a world. He doesn't exist if people don't have jobs.
If people don't have exactly. Because this is what you don't have a council. You don't have a bin man. You don't have this. You wouldn't need it.
You wouldn't need a politician to run the country if AI can run it better than anyone else.
And that's where I think we're going to leave it at. Is AI good? Or is AI bad?
That's a very good question.
And what point do we go pull the plug and never see what answer that is?
The problem is, though, there'll always be someone who wants to know the answer.
Exactly. Every film with a villain in it is that person.
That's the problem. Someone will always want to know the answer, and that person's the one who's going to destroy the world.
This is why I wanted to do a whole episode on AI, because I'll tell you now, watching it this week, and it is true, it's historical, because we're pioneering it. We are the pioneers.
Yeah.
As anyone doesn't want to agree with it, it was here 10 years ago. We're that generation. Look at it in 500 years.
Yeah.
You know, someone's going to want to go back in time. Not kill Hitler, kill AI.